So to introduce our first inductee today, I would like to ask Aquinas Senior, Harrison Goronsky, to please come up.
Anthony L. Barbato, MD, graduated from Aquinas in 1962, a place where he cultivated the values and friendships that would shape his exemplary career and life. Tony, as he was affectionately known, embraced the Aquinas community and formed a core group of friends who remained integral into his life. Tony attended University of Windsor on scholarship, the result of a pivotal moment when a priest from Aquinas tossed an application on his desk, setting him on a path that would define his professional and personal endeavors. Tony's career was marked by his dedication to medicine and education. He played a pivotal role in transforming Loyola University Medical Center from its modest beginning into a substantial and well-regarded medical center. Under his leadership, Loyola became known not only for its clinical excellence, but also for its commitment to treating the human spirit, a mantra that became embedded in the institution's culture. Tony served in various leadership roles at Loyola, culminating in his position as president. In addition to his work at Loyola, Tony was actively involved in the community. He served on multiple boards, and his commitment to community service was evident in his willingness to help anyone who sought his expertise, reflecting his belief in the importance of giving back. After retiring from Loyola, Tony transitioned to a role in executive search, working with Whit Kiffer to place skilled individuals into leadership positions in hospitals. Aquinas' influence on Tony was profound. He was inspired by his brother Ralph from the class of 1952, who lived in the aftermath of polio, and by his own motorcycle accident, which deepened Tony's resolve to pursue medicine. These experiences, coupled with the support and camaraderie from his AQ friends, reinforced the values of modesty, wisdom, and compassion that guided his life. Sadly, Tony passed away in October of last year. His legacy is one of dedication, humility, and unwavering commitment to serving others. His life story and his contributions to medicine and the community will be remembered and celebrated by all who knew him. Joining me on stage is Mr. Gary Gears, Aquinas class of 1962, the Aquinas Hall of Fame inductee in 2018, to accept on behalf of his classmate, Dr. Anthony Barbato's introduction into the Aquinas Hall of Fame for distinguished career.
Thank you, Harrison. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed Hall of Fame inductees, members of the Aquinas community, it is with a heavy heart that I stand before you today to accept the Hall of Fame on behalf of Dr. Anthony Barbato, a man whose life career embodies the values of compassion, service, and excellence. Though Tony is no longer with us, his spirit continues to touch the lives of everybody fortunate enough to have known him. And even though he may not have the privilege of benefiting from being here, I am sure he's with us. Tony's journey began at Aquinas, a place that nurtured the friendships and values that would define his remarkable life. And in Tony's typical humble way, he never forgot where it started. There's a story about Tony, a pivotal moment that shaped his future. One day, a priest at Aquinas gave Tony a scholarship application. This simple act set Tony on the path to the University of Windsor or Assumption, and eventually into a medical career that touched countless lives. It's a small example of how grace and Tony's openness to it would pave the way for a life defined by service, dedication, and leadership. As a physician and educator, Tony's contribution to Loyola Universal Medical Center are extraordinary. As an aside, he was asked to put 3 separate hospitals together in Chicago, combine them in one, and make them all work together while he was taking care of 6 children and his wife that had died. That particular medical community now is over 1,000 beds, 1,400 doctors, and the assets are well over $1 billion. So under Tony's leadership, Loyola evolved from a modest institution and one of the best-known institutions in the United States, and with a deep involvement of human approach to medicine. Tony championed a philosophy that medicine is not just treating ailments, but caring about the human spirit. It's a lesson he passed on to generations of medical students and residents, many of whom speak of him not just as a mentor, but as a guiding light in their own careers. Tony never lost his connection to medicine until the very end. He was a practicing physician in endocrinology. He continued to see patients, even if only half a day a week. His ability to take complex medical issues and explain them in ways that people could understand was just one of the many gifts that made him beloved by his patients and colleagues alike. Beyond his professional achievements, Tony was deeply committed to the broader community. He served on numerous boards and was always willing to share his knowledge and expertise, whether with friends, families, and neighbors. He believed in giving back, and this was not his philosophy confined to his medical career, but it was a guiding principle of his entire life. Behind the accomplishments, behind the accolades, was a devoted husband, a loving father. Tony experienced both joy and heartbreak in his personal life. He lost his first wife, Mary, after a battle with cancer, but later found a love again with Jean, with whom he shared a son. His family was always essential to his life, and the strength and support they provided were a constant source of inspiration. I want to tell you a quick story about, I heard at his funeral last December. It was by his daughter, Teresa, when she was approximately 5 years old. And they went, just Tony and Teresa were at the zoo, and for whatever reason, Teresa spilt hot coffee, hot chocolate all over her. Tony whipped on his medical hat and said, "Oh, I think the 2nd-degree burns. I need to take you to the hospital." So he wrapped Teresa up, bundled in the backseat of the car, and headed to the ER. And these are the words that Teresa spoke at her father's wake. "But the memory of being in the back seat of that car keeps coming back to me. I think because there is something fundamental in that memory of me, or what it felt to be loved by him. The man himself was going through hell at the time. My mom was very sick. He was raising 6 of us, running a hospital to boot, and even given all that, as a small person in the back seat of his car, banged up, hurt, bewildered, I knew fundamentally I was in steady hands. I was being carried through time and space by my pop. That's how his love felt to me." So after Tony's career kept him basically in Chicago from the time he started medical school at Loyola, however, Rochester and Aquinas remained a cornerstone for Tony. There are personal experience that he would share with friends of him, and it reinforced the core values of humility, compassion, wisdom that he carried with him throughout his life. Today, as we honor Tony with the Hall of Fame award, we remember not only his extraordinary career, but also the person behind him, a man of humility, grace, and unwavering commitment to others. A man who never forgot where he came from, who dedicated his life to serving others, and whose legacy will continue to inspire future generations. On the behalf of his family, his friends, and his colleagues, and all those whose lives he touched, I thank you for this honor. Tony would have been deeply humbled by the recognition, and we are grateful to you all remembering him this way. Thank you.